Hey folks, Jackdaw here. In my previous Baldur's Gate 3 video, we talked about some of the hiccups I encountered in the game, especially in Act 3 and the ending. But today, we're flipping the script and focusing on all the reasons why Baldur's Gate 3 is an absolute gem. I've got nothing but positive vibes to share in this one today. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again right here. The future of role-playing games is evolving right in front of us and Larian Studios is leading the charge. They've really set the bar high. And so without further ado, let's dive into what I absolutely adore about Baldur's Gate 3. Straight off the bat, BG3 has a way of pulling you into its narrative that's hard to express in words. It's got that special something that really sets it apart from many other games. It reminds me of the immersive experiences that you have with titles like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Finding a game that weaves such captivating personal stories that immediately grab your attention is an absolute thrill. Now, what specifically sets Baldur's Gate 3 apart is how it treats your role in the story. In some games, you're the chosen one, the world's savior, and that's all well and good, but if you can't personally connect that with the narrative, it can feel a bit, well, underwhelming. Let's take Skyrim for example. You're the destined Dragonborn, the one to save Tamriel by killing Alduin. But that supposed destiny for your specific character might not specifically resonate, especially if your character's idea of heroics involves chasing chickens around Riverwood and getting in trouble with the guards rather than saving the world from impending dragons of doom. In absolute contrast, in Baldur's Gate 3, if you do not get rid of that pesky mind flayer tadpole in your noggin, you're gonna become a mind flayer. A grim outcome indeed. But it goes much deeper than that. The game weaves a web of mysteries around your character. Mysteries that you must unravel, not only for your own personal development, but for the progression of the story and the well-being of the characters you've grown close to, whether they're friends or foes. It's these intricate connections that elevate the storytelling and make you personally invested in this tale. And even when there are opportunities to kick back and explore side quests, the game maintains a sense of urgency consistently, ensuring that you're always engaged. It's a perfect blend of personal connection and the freedom to chart your own path throughout this world. You're not some world-saving hero. You start with a mind flayer worm in your head, waking up at a beach seeking help from some forest-dwelling folk. When they can't assist you, you then set out on your own quest to find the next potential healer. Along the way, you uncover conspiracies, confront bigotry, and clash with a sinister cult, all while trying to crack the tadpole mystery. By Act 3, you're facing a crucial choice. Become the hero or expedite doomsday. The power to decide is of course in your hands. It's a refreshing, selfish goal that adds a layer of realism and personal responsibility to your character's journey. This isn't about moral high ground. It's about rooting for yourself. It's not about feeling obliged to save a world filled with wickedness. It's all about self-preservation at the end of the day, and I absolutely love it for that. And this sense of personal choice and agency applies whether you play as a custom character or one of the origin characters. You're not predestined to be a hero unless you actively choose that path. It's this flexibility that makes the game's world so enticing. And what's more, you have a diverse range of companions, each with their own views and objectives. Some might align with your specific goals if you're aiming to save the world, while others may not. Whether you choose the path of a hero or an unapologetic villain, Baldur's Gate 3 offers a rich and varied experience that is bespoke to your unique choices and desires. And that is apparently even more amplified when playing the game as the Dark Urge, which is an experience that I cannot wait to experience firsthand. I mean, seriously, I'm bursting with many ideas to bring my new character to life, a Dark Urge Dragonborn cleric of Saloon. After speaking to Lambo and seeing this firsthand as he plays as Lexor in our chaotic streams, the amount of things that you pull off as a Dark Urge and its connection to the narrative, it sounds intense and so gratifying. The character that I have in mind is intending on resisting the seductive pull of the Urge while also nurturing a heartfelt romance with Shadowheart and choosing the brighter path for her narrative. The storyline that is going to unfold in this specific playthrough is apparently going to be nothing short of gratifying and heartwarming for both these characters, and it sounds so inspired. I really feel like it might even be my canon playthrough just because of the wholesomeness, assuming I resist the urge and follow through with being a cleric of Saloon and having Shadowheart return to that fold. Equally, playing as a custom character is a brilliant choice, especially for your initial run, but it does lack that background depth that the Dark Urge and other Origin characters bring. That is understandable since playing as a custom character is meant for the player to fully project themselves or their ideal characters onto this blank canvas. However, there's only a certain amount of flexibility with a custom character, with options like claiming to hail from Baldur's Gate and other specific background choices that vary depending on your race, class, and the specific perks and character that you decide to go for. On the flip side, an origin character like the enigmatic Dark Urge pulls you directly into the overarching narrative of BG3. Much like the other origin characters, you come bearing a deep, dark secret. Rather than just being the helping hand for others and their pasts like you have with the custom character, with the Dark Urge and other origin characters, you've got your own narrative element that origin characters can actively assist you with. This becomes especially evident in the context of a romantic storyline too, and that just ties you more into the narrative. Now, don't get me wrong, creating a custom character that mirrors my own specific moral compass and values is an absolute blast, and just having fun creating any kind of whack, fun, silly character is brilliant. However, the magnetic pull of the Dark Urge is undeniable. Their internal struggle against or acceptance of the Dark Urge and the realization that it was all lurking within them all along is a narrative I'm eagerly looking forward to diving into on my next playthrough. Let's talk about a specific moment that really stood out in Baldur's Gate 3 for me, and that involves the romance. Specifically when I decided to pursue a romantic relationship with Shadowheart as my cleric, Jackdaw Dawson. As we got deeper into this romantic storyline, there was a moment that hit really hard, like a ton of bricks. It was the point where Shadowheart had to make an incredibly tough decision because her parents were taken by Shar. To regain her freedom and return to Saloon, she had to make the heartbreaking choice to end their lives. After this quest, we had a conversation that hit me like an emotional punch. It was the kind of conversation that made you feel like you were missing someone who used to be a significant part in your life. In this heart-to-heart, Shadowheart shares her doubts about her future now that her parents are no longer there to provide guidance. She felt lost, feeling somewhat adrift without a clear direction of her life. And this moment just tugged at the heartstrings. It genuinely moved me to tears, and I don't say that lightly. That's not just because I could personally relate to such a situation, but because it was incredibly impactful. The script, the voice delivery, bloody hell. The entire beautifully designed characterization behind Shadowheart just came out in full bloom. Like, my character had been there with her through so much, helping her navigate many tough decisions, from deciding what to do with the Night Song, to the realization that she's been kidnapped all her life by Shar, to then ultimately having to end her parents' lives. And this tragic, heartfelt conversation was the culmination of that beautiful journey that we have shared with her. There was one specific line where my character tried to console Shadowheart by saying, "They're not really gone, they're still with you." Her response about not being able to talk to them or seek their guidance on her past, it was so real and relatable. You could tell that this script had been wrote with specific empathy, that somebody had actually been through these scenarios themselves. And I say that particularly because I'm reflecting on other games that I've played this year and other RPGs like Starfield, and none of them even came close to evoking such a powerful emotional response. Like, Starfield is a game filled with dialogue, characters, and filled with so many attempts at this stuff, but it just does not hit so hard as Baldur's Gate does. And that's why this moment specifically stands out to me as just an emotionally charged experience from a video game. And the romance as a whole has kept me so invested throughout the journey, with moments of joy and fun to profound, heart-wrenching grief. It is slightly ironic that one of the biggest moments of this game that stands out to me is one filled with grief and heartache and tragedy, but I suppose that speaks more about me than it does anything else. As a whole though, and moving forward into another topic, BG3's romantic relationships are filled with moral complexities and nuances. What's so intriguing about them is the lack of a predefined linear path. This open-ended approach is what sets it apart from other games, even dare I say Dragon Age, where romances kind of all follow a similar path. In BG3, the game does not hold your hand, spelling everything out explicitly. Instead, it becomes evident that blindly agreeing with your romantic interests' every desire might not be the wisest course of action. That's kind of what we're programmed to do in games like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. You hit that flirt button and you're inevitably going to end up in the happier option for them, culminating in a romance. It's not like that for BG3 though. Blindly agreeing ain't gonna get you there all the time, and I love it for that. It's nuanced, it's complex. In fact, fact, many of the quests in BG3 eventually lead up to a pivotal moment where your romance option will confess that they love you, but they also may say, actually, I don't want you to do that. And I witnessed this firsthand with Shadowheart and the Night Song, where I actually had to disagree with Shadowheart to get what I believe became the better outcome for that romance and also Shadowheart, ultimately concluding in that heartfelt tragic scene that I just mentioned before. But that could have gone completely differently if I just blindly agreed to Shadowheart and let her kill the Night Song. That is still something that I actually want to see happen in an alternate, darker playthrough. But even so, each character is meticulously crafted with their own set of flaws, and that is just what makes them so captivating, so beautifully written. You do not have to be in complete alignment and agreement with their choices, because those flaws are an integral part of who they are. And this is a facet of the game that I genuinely really appreciate, the ability to love a character for their authenticity while not necessarily condoning every decision they make. It's all about choices, and you can choose to condone them or disapprove. Just like real life, you're not gonna 100% agree with your romantic partner all the flippin' time, because we've all got flaws and we all do things that we always don't agree with. The game's script is wonderfully flexible. You can opt for that morally upright path or attempt to see the character in the most positive light possible, depending on your playthrough. This can lead to vastly different character arcs, and that again just makes this game completely remarkable. I've seen this with the Astarion romance firsthand, where you can become his thrall if you want to subjugate yourself to that. On the back of that, constantly agreeing with your romantic option may lead to a less fulfilling or even predictable playthrough. The crucial question is whether your character has evolved within the context of their relationship, and this evolution can then vary significantly based on your choices and moral perspective. Even aside from romance, one fascinating element is how the game allows pivotal moments where you can give your companions the autonomy to make their own decisions. In some scenarios, that just works out to be the better case. You possess the power to either steer their choices or just step back and let them forge their own unique path based on their own decisions. And this encompasses critical decisions too, like the potential ascent to the Duke's position with Will, or the determination of the stance regarding the Night Song with Shadowheart, thus underscoring BG3's core principle of player agency, giving the player the complete freedom to do what they want, where these characters exist independently of the player's involvement, and where those relationships are significantly formed and influenced by the dynamic choices that you make. It's all about the evolving nature of these interactions, and that's what keeps you engaged in this story, and it works beautifully. More games need to take a note from this book. Coming towards a close, it's nothing short of amazing to witness the profound impact that BG3 has made on the gaming industry, especially now where we're seeing games like Starfield come out, and in my opinion it's kind of a subpar role-playing experience. I'm a big Bethesda fan, but Starfield for me particularly didn't hit it on the head and found the characters lackluster when compared to BG3, and just the overall experience did not match what I have experienced with Baldur's Gate. On the other end, with Dragon Age Dreadwolf going through such a tumultuous time, and EA just being the absolute fat cat corporates they are, with laying off a bunch of the staff at BioWare and lots of the team just bleeding out because of the impact that EA has had, BG3 stands as a titan, as a AA European agency without any publishers or crunch. And Larian Studios has had their work cut out for them too. You know, this was not a simple feat by any means. Revisiting the dormant Baldur's Gate franchise when it was previously developed by BioWare and Black Isle Studios, the expectations were very high, and their success shows the demand for expansive role-playing games that go the extra mile and draw even more than just inspiration from Dungeons and Dragons. Looking forward, while Larian Studios kind of want to explore smaller titles or smaller RPGs, their achievement with Baldur's Gate 3, a multi-year development effort, is undeniably commendable. And I'd say I'm excited for what they do next, but I'm actually just going to go back and play more Baldur's Gate 3 because there's still so much that I haven't yet done. For example, I just met a bunch of fish people in the Underdark and started my own cult. So I'm going to hop back on BG3 and see what other chaotic things I can get up to. Let me know all of your thoughts on BG3, its success, and how you're feeling about this game, and also the current landscape of RPGs right now. But until the next one, I've been Jackdaw, and I should go. Whoa.